I'm really pleased this morning to present for the very first time what we believe is a comprehensive report on Great Britain's nuclear industry, covering the period 2018 to 2019. When I took up the post of Chief Nuclear Inspector 2 years ago, I identified a real opportunity to strengthen the transparency with which we communicate our view on safety, security and safeguards performance of the industry that we regulate, and improving our communications thereby, not just to the public, but to other wider stakeholders and also to you, yourselves, the industry. Hopefully, it will be seen as what is a definitive and authoritative report on that performance of the industry, and it will be freely available to everyone after today, so tomorrow morning we will release it. Its publication brings the United Kingdom into closer alignment with the time-honoured practice by other national nuclear regulators across the globe, and also other health and safety regulators, a number of whom are in the room this morning. This morning's event also provides a unique opportunity for us to convey to you, as senior leaders from across the sector, our view on what we believe are the key challenges we consider warrant your collective attention and focus. I will also welcome, and my team will welcome, your perspectives on the report itself and the format of today, and look forward to a conversation with you this morning around what the key themes are coming out of the report. I'd also like to thank your teams as well for the contribution that they have made during the process of developing this report and investing the time to review it and making sure that it's factually correct and that it's balanced and proportionate. Also on the matters of commercial sensitivity and security matters as well. So, in relation to the overall judgment, it's been informed by our extensive assessment, inspection and permissioning activity with which you're all very familiar. And the judgment is that the nuclear industry has overall continued to meet the prerequisite standards of safety and security to protect workers and public that we expect in the United Kingdom. I also continue to be assured by the many positive examples across the sector where you have strived not just for compliance, but in many instances on an ongoing journey to operational excellence in what you do. So I'd just like to take a moment to talk about a few of the highlights. At Sellafield, ongoing preparations and enabling work to support early retrievals. This demonstrates continued commitment on that site, focused attention and the application of successful innovation in addressing the nation's historic legacy issues. The significant preparations for long-awaited retrievals from legacy silos exemplify this, and we actually look forward to seeing transfers of waste to long-term storage from some of those facilities in the near future. I also further welcome the tangible progress with improvements to the site's facilities that hold the bulk of the nation's special nuclear material stocks, and also the significant organisational change adopted by Sellafield's executive, refocusing its business to address hazard and risk reduction following the end of oxide fuel reprocessing during 2018. The year also saw the successful transfer of significant amounts of nuclear material from Dounreay to Sellafield, together with the safe transfer of material from Dounreay to the United States. This was enabled by extensive cooperation between governments, industry and regulators. The Bradwell site successfully entered into its current maintenance phase. This first-of-a-kind transition actually sets a precedent for the UK and for the Magnox reactor fleet. And I recognise the considerable amount of effort and preparation that went into making sure that that could happen over a protracted period of time. During the year, we also issued formal consent to enable NMB Genco Hinkley Point C to commence the concrete pour for Hinkley Point C's Unit 1 nuclear island. And we agreed to the licensee also commencing construction of Unit 1's pumping station. Really milestone achievements. And we're actually seeing real visible progress of the iconic project for the UK now, where all the generic design assessment findings have been resolved, and a major milestone was achieved in freezing the reference design for configuration 2. Securing that stable design for construction is fundamental. Since the publication of our security assessment principles in 2017, otherwise known as SIAPs, You've been preparing your new nuclear site security plans, and that has culminated in successful pilots in a number of areas during the year. I'm confident that this will encourage a much more holistic approach to security while improving ownership and understanding of security arrangements by duty holders. EDF Energy has continued to operate its PWR and its operational AGR units safely, continuing to evidence its pedigree as a mature and responsible operator. And I recognise the excellent world-leading independent nuclear assurance capability which provides robust internal scrutiny and challenge to EDF. I think everyone recognises that the graphite cores are the subject of significant focus for EDF and ONR, and we will continue to engage positively and be clear in our expectations for evidence to substantiate safe generation in the future. We recognise EDF's desire to prepare for future lifetime extension at Sizewell B and welcome the company's transparency in sharing its plans for this early on. It allows us then to work with them in a much more constructive manner. Looking at defence, the Aldermaston and Burfield sites have received enhanced regulatory attention, and that's been for a number of years now due to compliance and age-related issues on those sites. But we are encouraged by the development of clearly defined strategic plans to develop and deliver modern standards facility replacements and also provide right first-time safety cases with the goal of ultimately moving to routine regulatory attention. Similarly, we've seen improved leadership, focus and progress on infrastructure improvement at Devonport Royal Dockyard. Initially slower than anticipated during the early part of the year, but with a real tangible improvement over the last 6 months or so. And that, again, augurs well for the future. It's also worth highlighting the good progress of the HPR 1000 Chinese reactor technology, which is now going through generic design assessment step 3. Just note that we've seen a marked improvement over the past year in security leadership and culture, helped by the recruitment, development and retention of competent staff within the industry. I would, however, emphasise the need for ongoing focus on leadership and maturing organisational security culture across the industry. This to deliver enduring capability, because I don't think that the industry is there yet. 2018-19 saw significant progress in delivering a domestic safeguards regime that is equivalent in effectiveness and coverage to that currently provided by Euratom. I would like to note my gratitude and personal thanks for the invaluable cooperation and the operational perspectives provided by you, the industry, during the development and our work to get that UK system up and running. What that has done is meant that it has ensured that ONR has stood ready to deliver the UK's international safeguards obligations for material accountancy since March of this year. So, looking at your safety and security performance. In March of this year, my team presented to the Safety Directors Forum early sight on the regulatory attention levels, which you should all be familiar with. And those are the attention levels that we will be assigning to you as licensees and duty holders for 2019-20. I've been keen to enhance the transparency and rationale behind how we assign such attention levels, supported by much more structured discussions with you on the required trajectory to move from enhanced to routine levels of attention where appropriate. I welcome the constructive engagement with both Devonport and AWE over the past year through respective improvement programmes, and that is instilling confidence in your progress, and I also recognise the significant progress that has been made at Dounreay over the past 2 years in that regard. And also to note that I look forward to seeing a structured improvement programme at Dungeness B site later this autumn, which is currently under development. Receiving enhanced levels of attention is not always a reflection of good or poor performance. Our report recognises that Hunterston B will receive an enhanced level of regulatory attention for the remainder of the station's generating life. My regulatory team has actually got quite a high regard for the station's prominent nuclear safety and security culture. But the increased attention is the result of the substantially increased specialist regulatory effort required to enable and support safe return to service of its 2 reactors, where long-predicted graphite core aging phenomena are now being realised. I do continue to be assured as to the compliance record of the industry. This is evidenced by a significant programme of formal inspection and our wider interactions with you. We've continued to evolve our own approach to compliance inspection. For the EDF reactor fleet, we have thematic inspections. That is an improvement in how we do our inspections on the sites, often across our purposes, and they're providing increasingly more insightful for us and for the industry than the narrow scope compliance inspections that we have traditionally done. And I do actually anticipate us undertaking more of those types of inspections in the future. But we can't consider and discuss performance without looking at enforcement. During this period, we've actually served 9 improvement notices. But what I would say is all of those have been complied with by industry. We've also issued 35 enforcement letters. That's a newer format of enforcement to ourselves, but is a much better tool for us to actually set out what our concerns are and ask for the required improvements in a formal manner. We've also issued 1 direction under Licence Condition 15 and then instigated a number of prosecutions associated with incidents that have occurred during 2017 and 2018, all of which have now concluded. As I remarked in the June industry conference, enforcement is only one of our tools. If we need to take strong enforcement action, for me it's disappointing, and I think also for my team. I'm aware of some of the concerns from industry that this indicates a move away from an enabling approach. I would disagree. I believe that we are a strong and balanced regulator that acts in a proportionate manner, trying to influence improvements against important safety and security outcomes. That's good for the industry. It's what I believe that you want us as an industry to undertake, and it also instills good, strong stakeholder confidence. In relation to reportable incidents, you'll see the report highlights an increase in RIDDOR notifications. Findings from our investigations and interventions across the sector, allied with the recent prosecution cases and the increased number of reportable injuries, are indicative, we believe, of a decline in conventional health and safety performance. And what you will hear from my colleague Ian Phillips a little later is a little bit more detail about why we've come to that view. So I would emphasise the need for increased industry focus on reversing this trend. The total number of nuclear safety and security incidents reported to us in this period was consistent with the average reported over the last 5 years. And I'm satisfied with the open and positive reporting culture across the industry. However, the absolute number of incidents actually emphasises the need for sustained and continuous attention on safety and security by the industry. Whilst not explicitly referenced in the report, we've recognised that our approach to respond to individual events is somewhat tactical. There's a need for us to become much more strategic in linking the intelligence that we acquire from the incidents that you report to us and how we then use that to plan our future interventions. We plan to work harder with you, the industry, in this regard, and my own regulatory intelligence team recently met with the chair of the Operating Experience Group about 6 weeks ago to actually look at how this can be undertaken under the auspices of the Safety Directors Forum. So looking at what we've termed our regulatory priorities, our top priority is always to do the delivery of our core regulatory function, prioritising our efforts on those sites and duty holders whom enhanced attention levels are set out. Our report also highlights 3 overarching themes that we believe has emerged from the work that we have done, and we believe they warrant the industry's attention. These themes are not in any way new, but intend to focus our collective attention on the key areas, our collective attention. And they will require progressive improvement. I would highlight the need for industry to critically review your strategies and plans and reflect on how you can deliver sustained improvement in these areas, both individually but as a collective. You will shortly hear from 3 of my team, more details and perspective against each one of these, but I will briefly give you my own view. On sustainable programs for the management of ageing facilities, I've previously mentioned there are significant challenges associated with ageing facilities in the industry and the infrastructure that supports it. They're approaching the end of operational life, as well as systems and components do not meet what we call modern engineering standards. So from my view, continued safe and secure operation of ageing facilities warrants sustained focus and commitment to ongoing investment in plant, people and processes. It also requires effective strategies for characterisation, monitoring, trending and analysis of ageing, both at facility, system and component level. And lastly, it requires a commitment to ensure the right level of organisational capability to sustain specialist safety case and other technical capability to justify and evidence ongoing safe operation. And again, my colleague Ian Bramwell, our delivery for operational reactor regulation, will talk about this in a moment. On conventional health and safety performance, there is a considerable amount of work being undertaken by the industry in new build, post-operational clean-out, decommissioning of existing facilities and demolition. These activities pose significant conventional industrial safety risks to workers if not properly controlled. I've already stated that we have observed that certain sectors of the industry have experienced a reduction in conventional health and safety performance, and renewed efforts are required by industry to ensure this performance improves and the trend reversed. Lastly, looking at realising the benefits of SIAPs to deliver a holistic approach to security. The implementation of SIAPs enables us to regulate nuclear security in an outcome-focused manner, and I think everyone agrees that that is a positive step. Industry will only realise the benefits of this approach if it can deliver organisational ownership and cultural change on security matters. To my mind, this will require improved organisational leadership and management for security. It will also require suitably qualified and experienced nuclear security staff that understand and take ownership of security risks. And then finally, nuclear security regimes need to be underpinned by capable and effective internal assurance function that actually understands the issue of security. My inspectors will be seeking to ensure that duty holders take the right steps to improve security understanding and ownership and consolidate an effective security culture in their organisations. But we will work with you in this. And again, Paul Fife, our Director of Civil Nuclear tell a lie, it's Graham Thompson, one of our delivery leads from Civil Nuclear Security and Safeguards, will provide more detail on that later. So just some further reflections. Hope that you find this event useful and insightful, an opportunity to listen to our perspective on industry performance, but also to network with each other and the regulator, the regulators, to discuss the themes that are coming out, to see what we can do and agree mutually progressive programmes going forward. Much of the content in this report was shared with your teams during its production, but I recognise you will wish to discuss the content with your teams based on what you hear this morning. You will now hear from 3 of my team in relation to the 3 overarching themes I've mentioned, after which my team of Deputy Chief Inspectors, who were introduced earlier on, will look forward to answering any questions that you have, and I will also look forward to discussing with you your views on how we can improve future reports of this nature and how we present them to you, the industry and elsewhere, such that we can strengthen our openness and transparency and that of the industry. Thank you very much.